And action doesn't just stem from,
a lot of people. I know a lot of people actually go into the movie saying that if there's not like a really big action scene, I'm gonna be disappointed, and I'm gonna feel like I didn't get my money's worth. Because we're going into Batman v Superman, expecting Batman and Superman to throw down.
I think the reason why is because there was so much destruction in Man of Steel 1. I was like, concerned because if this is just the first movie, what's gonna happen to the sequel? I mean, Metropolis.
How do you expect Superman to fight without all that stuff happening? He can't take. It's like, whoa, Zod, let's go take this somewhere where like there's nobody around. It's like they're just gonna throw down there.
Okay, they should just chill out for the first movie. I could understand that if it was the sequel, but I wanted just.
Now you wanted the whole trilogy with just Superman and General Zod. No.
It'd be like Dragon Ball Z.
You wanted to lag on so much.
One episode, like 5 episodes, just an entire battle. No, I don't want that either. No, not Dragon Ball Z status. No. All right. Let's just. Anything else you want to touch on Batman?
You want to turn on Batman? All right. The other heroes, like I hear they're Aquaman. I don't know if that's a rumor or that's been confirmed. I'm gonna assume it's a rumor. Because I don't want to see Aquaman in a Batman vs Superman movie.
So Wonder Woman for sure.
I think I'm gonna go out and say that she's gonna be the one who stops Batman and Superman from fighting.
I can agree because I think the story arc right now in the comics is that Superman has some kind of, if not with Lois Lane, it's with Wonder Woman has a thing. So yeah, I can expect something's gonna happen. She's gonna end up being,
the voice of reason.
Voice of reason.
It's the two butting heads.
I mean, I've seen it before. 2 men fighting, and eventually the woman ends up,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong. Because
that happens a lot in real life.
It happens a lot, but it's just, kind of changing the subject. Do you expect that they'll go all out for a Justice League movie, or do you expect, that they make let's say after this movie, a standalone film for Wonder Woman and another standalone film for Batman?
Well, they said they were going to jump straight into
Justice League.
It's called Batman v Superman.
Dawn
of Justice. What's the dawn? It's the start of Justice.
Dawn.
So you could safely assume that there's going to be more characters than they're releasing at this time. There's going to be quite a few more because they already got Cyborg on board.
Cyborg, yes.
I hope they're at least talking about Aquaman, and they definitely got Wonder Woman in there. What else? What are we missing? Green Lantern. Don't get me started on that. Ryan Reynolds is an underrated actor, though.
Yes,
I like him as an actor.
There's a thing with Ryan Reynolds because he always ends up. He's a good actor, but he always ends up in the shittiest movies.
I know. He's just wrong place at the wrong time. He just needs to fire his agent, do some really action-packed indie movies, and then he'd get back on the radar. And then that's what I think. Off topic.
Do we expect anyone else from the Justice League?
No. I really hope they don't put Robin in there. It will definitely take away from how gritty and dark Batman is. If I see Robin in there.
Yeah.
But they could keep Nightwing. I like Nightwing. Just because he's Nightwing.
They'll probably leave out just Nightwing. They won't even put Robin. Mm-hmm. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. That's another story. Anyway.
That's another story for another dinner.
Anyway, what else should we expect from this?
What else should we expect from this movie?
I expect it to be epic because
it's definitely
2016 is
a really long wait.
Really long wait.
It's a long wait for us people, and they're filming it already, so they have almost 2 years to get this film right. That is a long time for a film.
That is long.
That is a very long time. And they've been talking about this since 2013. Or right after Man of Steel finished, everybody was already talking about it.
So, Man of Steel, now Dawn of Justice.
I would really, that fight scene, that That fight scene is gonna be so epic.
Batman.
Batman versus.
Do you expect? I don't know how much you're into comics, but do you expect like I don't know, him with the Batbots first, Superman finding the Batbots first, and then like
Batbots.
like at one point he makes these drones, these Batbots.
Oh yeah. Like
and then like maybe further on into the movie, it's just him on an armored Batman going all out with him, Superman.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Because another thing too is that Batman is a human, but at one point he does defeat Superman.
Yes.
So it's we can't emphasize more that it's a huge role to fill.
Batman is sort of our defender against our defender and our representative against like people who are or like aliens that are as powerful as Superman. Like Batman is our response because he can and he will beat them. Well, I don't know how Schneider plans on doing it. Either he's either gonna do that. Batman is totally badass and really smart, and he's gonna beat Superman, or he's gonna make Batman look weak against Superman because he knows Superman is the one. It just depends on what he thinks that's what's gonna happen.
I looked up this interview they did with the DC illustrator, and I forgot, but he illustrated Joker graphic novel. But they asked him his response to the Nolan trilogy as well as the new reboot, and the thing he touched on was that he was so disappointed on the design of Batman in the Nolan trilogy. He thought on top, I think he also alluded, he didn't say directly, but he alluded to the fact that, well, Bale was too skinny.
He was too skinny.
To be Batman. And he also did not like the bat suits, because his vision of Batman was that Batman was a soldier. He was the soldier. He was this man on a mission. He was at war with Crust.
Stay back.
And so he didn't really. It was apart from the whole detective, persona some artists see Batman or some people see Batman. So I think that's what we're headed for. I think based on the design of the Batsuit, it's Batman as this soldier.
Yeah, because if you read the comics, Batman is a big boy. He is a big man, and Ben Affleck is a big man. He is a really tall man, and he is a really big man. So I think that's why I think he's going to do good on this. Cause you can't grow, and you can't get any bigger than. Let's face it, you can't really get any bigger than what your body mass can do. I'm sorry, skinny people. It's just the way it is.
But on that subject, what did now that Nolan's trilogy is over, what were his faults? As great as the movies were, what were his faults? Okay. Or what were any faults?
What were the faults of the Dark Knight trilogy? The action. Right after that, action. If you go over the fight scenes of the Batman trilogy,
they're well.
They were well directed, definitely.
Well shot.
Well shot.
But
unfortunately, the choreography. It was very choppy.
It was nothing special.
It was very choppy. Nothing special. I don't really want to say anything else about it because the audience is gonna rip me a new one.
Alright. I mean, let's be fair. Everything has its pros and cons. Okay, another thing, I think, this wasn't my complaint, but this was a major complaint from many people for the Nolan trilogy, was it was too realistic. In that, the world of Batman is a pretty, it's like borderline fantasy. Dark fantasy, let's say. But it was regardless, it was like this crime thing.
Yeah.
I think Nolan got from the thing. I think what Nolan got wasn't just the near fantastic. It was more of the true crime thing of Gotham. And so, if you watch the trilogy, you think that Gotham is just another echo of Detroit. So, and not really the Gotham.
It is being filmed, and this movie's the next one being filmed in Detroit.
In Detroit. Well, I'm saying
I can't imagine a better set.
I'm saying because like it just seemed like I think most people didn't like. It was if they wanted darkness. But let's say okay, Tim Burton. Let's see. When Tim Burton took on the Batman, it was alright. For the record, for an '80s movie or an '80s Batman, for a first attempt at Batman, it was good. A first attempt. Now that we've seen Nolan, we know that Batman can be a whole lot darker. I think the thing was people hate on Burton because it's just too wacky.
It is wacky. This is Batman we're talking
and then
about.
Nolan is being hated on because it was too realistic. But both directors did their best at the darkness of the whole world of Batman. So can we expect?
Nolan nailed.
So what we expect Snyder to take on is just like getting the exact tone of Batman's world of Gotham and everything. So I think that was to be sure the realism of Batman trilogy because they're expecting Bane to be this large guy with the Titan formula, and instead it was this guy with the.
He was just a big man.
He was just a big man.
And then with the anesthetic, which makes him, I guess, more powerful.
In a way, if not more. I don't know. Not to be.
Then we just discovered another flaw.
Another flaw
about Bane.
About Bane.
He's just a big man.
And he's supposed to be supposed to be like this from the Spanish country, right? But instead we get like this British guy.
This gypsy.
This is gypsy, Spanish gypsy. But instead we get this British guy. So another thing people hate upon the Nolan trilogy is it's not completely true to the comics.
I don't mind. I thought.
Although we're gonna exclude the Joker because even the Joker, even in the comics, he's a mystery and he's better kept that way. So
I don't like what they tried to do to him in the Killing Joke.
Killing Joke.
That they tried to make like an origin story for him.
That's what Burton did in the first Batman. They made an origin story
but
it's Burton. See, that was another fault.
I like that it was real, but to me it wasn't too real. I think the perfect movie is a movie that is definitely real, but has like a fantasy in it. So it's sort of like telling like an extraordinary thing happening in ordinary circumstances. That's kind of the thing. That's kind of like my thing that I like.
Yeah, but I think the one, if anything, if I were to point out the worst of the Nolan trilogy, the worst. Regardless, all movies are great, but the one with the most faults, I think, would be The Dark Knight Rises, because that one, what surprised me was that the amount of plot holes in the movie. Yeah. So, and I'd say it's hard making a trilogy, and from my point of view, most trilogies end with a bad threequel. But so here's hoping that Chris Terrio avoids any plot holes.
And here's another. A lot of people blame directors and actors for what the people who actually make the story do. The writers.
Yes.
And they think they're shielded from all this just because, it's the director, he's doing this stuff. No, it's your story, it's your screenplay, the actors are doing what you tell them to do. I'm
saying right now, and I'll touch on this subject some other video, but the most important thing in the movie
is the screenplay and the story.
And the editing.
And the editing, too.
But it's more or less the screenplay. Yeah. And that's another thing why screenwriters are treated very poorly, because even if it's good, they always, it's the same thing, they go first to the director.
It's both a good and a
blessing and a curse.
Yes, exactly.
So, if you didn't like the story, blame the screenwriter. You can this is what a great director said. It was Akira Kurosawa. He said, a good director will always fail with a bad screenplay. If the screenplay is great, but the director is mediocre, it'll still be a good movie regardless. So here's hoping. I think we maybe a little overboard on it.
We did probably go a bit overboard, but I think we managed to touch on it.
We managed to convince people we're Batman fans.
We're Batman fans, exactly. Nobody's a Superman fan.
No offense.
Come on. I got a Superman sticker on
But
it. Alright, so I guess that's our time for today. We will see you next time. I am Joshua Castro.
I'm Alex. You'll need to know my last name, because if you do, I'll hunt you down.
Alright. Till next time, guys.